Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Titan Esports League. I'm Raptor, joined by the ever-awesome Anti today. How you doing, Anti?
I'm doing well. It's a good time to be casting Vanquisher, especially with you, my good friend. It's been a hot minute, but right now we've got Star Nation Esports versus, oh my goodness, I've already forgotten their name.
I have to. I'm so bad with it. I will
winning
always
formula. Sorry. Of all the teams to forget, it's the winning formula, the #1 seed going into this set. Yo, 4-0 record, has not dropped a single set just yet. And I gotta say, Raptor, that is going to be an impressive feat no matter what your schedule is.
Yeah, I mean that, like, it's difficult to do that even when you're like a pro team. Like even SKT, I mean even T1 has issues with like doing that. To do that when you're an amateur team and you've got like jobs and school and all these other things going on, it makes it all the more impressive. And so I'm excited to see what they have in store for us today. Can they keep this streak going?
Yeah, and one other thing to note, so Lee Sinner's not going to be getting subbed out this time around. We had a little bit of a scare earlier on, thinking that Lee Sinners was not going to be able to make it, but just in the nick of time, he sweeps in when his team needs him most to take on Star Nation Esports. We're coming in at the 2nd seed, only have dropped one set so far, so we got a 4-0 versus a 3-1 team, so it's bound to be super interesting back and forth. And there have been quite a few changes over the past few patches, whether it be the champions or the way how people play around these certain champions. Skarner, for example, still a very strong champion. By no means is a champion that people should be sleeping on, but has fallen off a lot in terms of comfortability, right? When you have picks like the Mordekaiser coming out to be very, very strong into these champions here. Meanwhile, Tristana has been seeing a ton of priority in that mid lane. So I'd love to see whether or not these teams are going to be looking for their own comfort picks or going to be looking to pick up on what is the most meta option right now.
Yeah, I will be curious to see. Haven't got to play as much the last couple, like the last 2 weeks, so I'm a little curious to see what everyone is going for. I know especially on supports, will we still see more challenge? Will we see more tank supports? Are they going to go towards more of those enchanters? Especially with Warmogs being so strong, tanks are very strong in the support role right now. But also, what kind of mids we're going to see? Like AD mid has been dominating pro and like solo queue already and the amateur scene. Will we see more of that, or are teams going to start knowing that a lot of these are getting nerfed and we're going to see some buffs coming towards some things like Silas in the next patch or so? Are we going to see people starting to try to get that practice in on that, so when those buffs come out they're ready to go?
I do think that we might be seeing some of those practice picks come on out, but I don't think we're going to be seeing it in a match as important as this one. As we said, right, Star Nation Esports sitting at a 3-1 record. Meanwhile, the winning formula, the sole possession of the lead with a 4-0 record. If I'm the winning formula, right, if any of us are on the winning formula, you say, hey, we've got a perfect record. Let's not squander this, right? Maybe one game of a set, but I doubt we're going to be seeing experimental things through the entire set, because it's not like these teams to just go for the experimentation and look at playoffs. You still have to treat each and every team you're fighting with respect. So I would be very surprised to not be seeing things like the Tristana mid come out in the mid lane, the Corki as well, and meanwhile in the jungle there's going to be a decent variety of champions. There is the Sejuani, there is the Zyra. Lots of these champions have been coming out. Lots of these champions have been seeing a lot of success lately, but the big question is, what is it that teams really put their priority into? Because part of it's going to be that comfort pick, and part of it's going to be those meta picks. And right now, we're going to be able to see a little bit of that drafting strategy. Ahri immediately taken off the table is going to be a solid mid lane pick to ban away, and also a solid comfort pick is what I'm going to be assuming as well. Meanwhile, Lilia, once again, more towards those comfort yet good picks right now in the meta.
Yeah, so I'm going to be curious to see where they go. The Jinx getting banned up there too, very strong right now in the AD carry position. I wonder what else we're going to see here. I wonder if we see the Trist ban or the Corki. Both are very powerful. It's going to be Ivern. Okay,
Thank God. Ivern is not something to be sleeping on right now. I honestly think he's relatively underrated. One of those champions that people really do have to pay attention to. There has been a lot more Ivern being played at the higher levels of play, so glad to see that abomination taken away. Lots of bans towards that jungle. Eugene not going to be able to get on with that champion pool. 3 targeted bans towards that jungler. Star Nation not going to be so happy about that one, but the Rumble pickup definitely works out well in the right hands.
Yeah, and I think Rumble is honestly slept on quite a bit right now. I think he's very powerful, especially in the top lane with the current meta. Corki there, obviously, we were saying very powerful right now. Ever since he got his passive changed back to his one of his older passives, so that's really good to see. Ezreal coming through as well. Not sure how
Ooh.
much I feel about that one. I've seen some people trying to do it. It just depends where it goes. Okay, so I'm okay with Ezreal bottom, but I've seen a lot of people trying out Ezreal mid, especially at the pro level. So I'm curious because you can flex both of these guys. So where are they gonna go?
So I would be very surprised if we see this Corki anywhere other than mid lane, right? You know, Corki just loves all of that experience points. Meanwhile, we are going to be getting the Poppy pickup early on for what I'm assuming to be for Eugene. This could still go over to Comet. We have been seeing a little bit of that Halo Blades Poppy support. In the meantime, Brand being taken on the response here. So right now, I will say TWF have a lot of ranged poke, right? You know, none of that big beefy front line, no one to really keep these players off of them. So right now we need to see a lot of peel, a lot of frontline, a lot of engage, or some way how to keep the opposing team off of them, so that way they can go for these 1-4 split compositions, 1-3-1 split compositions, you know, where it's not just going to be like, oh, well, they have no disengage, let's just run straight at them.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how TWF responds with this. So it's going to be really hard to have heavy engage unless like it's kind of poke. Like even with the Rel, like going to be a little bit hard with Poppy being there. It's going to stop the jump. It only really doesn't stop the charge. So I guess that's a good way kind of around that, but it does make your engage predictable. Really though, I'm a little worried for their comp. Ooh, the Mundo. Oh, that's something. If I have a poke AD carry, that's my call of up. It's GG. Mundo is going to feast, I think, in this game.
Yeah, so Mundo has been unbelievably evil lately, is what I would say. Right? One of the champions that is allowed to just rush that Warmogs, to just get so much value from all that health. You could, if you're in top lane, right, you could go Warmogs, Heartsteel into Overlord's Bloodmail, and it's all of a sudden it's just not even remotely close to fair feeling. But I gotta say, right, Mundo in the top lane, very, very strong champion, especially on the current patch. I think he's one of the most slept on champions right now, and people are just starting to figure out just how disgusting this champion can be. That does mean we're not getting a Rumble top lane. We're getting a Rumble in the jungle coming out from Eugene here, and not a pick that we're used to seeing so much lately, but at the very least, it does tell us that that's not going to be a Poppy in the jungle position. That is going to be a Poppy on support as well. So we're going to get some hella bloody bot lane fights.
Oh, I absolutely think so. Lucian Poppy, very good combo, can really stop them from getting away. Poppy support, I think, is super underrated. I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten the time back when, you know, the support meta, this is years ago, was dominated by Trundle and Poppy. It's such a pain to deal with. Poppy support has so much base damage. It's difficult to escape from her. It's easier for her to lock you down. It's all good, and especially with Lucian to follow up. I also am curious, you know, so it is a Brand jungle. Brand jungle is very strong. But I don't know how strong Brand jungle is into Rumble jungle. I feel like I give that to Rumble in the head-to-head.
I mean, as far as the head-to-head goes, Brand doesn't really care much about the head-to-head. He cares about the counter ganking. He cares about the team fighting once those come around. So it really doesn't matter who wins the one-on-one. But I will say, Eugene, very much well-equipped for this jungle Rumble, even rocking that skin, right? You know, it's all about the skins, right? Skins get wins type beat. That's why you ban away the Ari, so that way no one gets to flex their huge wallets. But in the meantime, I gotta say, right, The Lucian Poppy pickup is something that I'm pretty surprised about here. Not necessarily because Poppy's a bad pick or that Lucian's a bad pick. The reason why it's so surprising is because that Lucian Poppy was picked up so early on that the winning formula had no idea that the Poppy was going to be forced towards that bot lane, right? We saw a Milio ban. We saw a Nami ban. So many bans on the second half drawn towards that support position where it was like, all right, well, what if we just get rid of what Lucian wants as a support? Meanwhile, Poppy was staring them in the face the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to bait it. I think a lot of people don't respect, like, this is just kind of like a more holistic thing. Steve Velder taking quite a hit right there. But it's something I think a lot of people don't respect is when you pick those off-meta supports. I'm someone who's really guilty of this. My pocket supports are Shen, Set, and Jarvan. So I feel like a lot of people they see it, immediately think it's the other lane, and just aren't prepared. No one ever expects it. But like when they come down here, when you bring those pocket support picks in like that, those off meta supports, there's usually a reason. It's usually because you have a very, very specific plan in mind. And I feel like that the plan here, I mean, with an Ezreal, I feel it's going to change it up a bit, but I think SNE is really going to focus on ganking this bottom lane. They're going to look. Maybe they won't kill the Ezreal, but they're sure as hell going to kill that Rel if they catch her with the Poppy. So I think that's really the focus here. Get that going. Get the Lucian ahead. You know, if he snowballs, it becomes very difficult, especially for Ezreal. Ezreal struggles to deal with waves. Lucian can just poke right through it. And I think that's kind of the ballpark here. Keep this Ezreal behind. Make this double 80 carry comp suffer. Make it only have really one viable carry for a while until Mundo is fully online. And then, you know, once Mundo is fully online, that's the real clock ticking moment for TWF. If SNE gets that online, that's going to be so difficult because they don't really have DPS on their team.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do against this Mundo because, you know, Mundo will get shredded down by the Ezreal, right? By the Corki, by the Brand, by the Gnar. Lots of percent health damage there. But the big thing is, how do you stop the Mundo from actually just walking onto your squishies? But gotta stop real quick here, as we're getting a little bit of a fight in the mid lane. No, just gonna be the quick trades. But I gotta say, Pro Comp's definitely liking the draft from Star Nation Esports. Is, like we said, right? So much of the focus towards the support banaways. Meanwhile, Poppy goes into the bot lane, and then Klezo Menai just gets to pick up the Mundo. Look at this Mundo already doing a lot of work in this top lane. So much sustain, so much damage.
Yeah, Mundo's bases are very high. I think they've been high that way since, you know, old Mundo. So it's pretty strong lane bully. You think he can't really like trade like Gnar can, but those axes, or if you're just chucking a minion through people, that can do quite a bit of damage there. As we see on this bottom side, the SNE bot lane kind of getting the advantage on the push here. Still pretty even between them. The only place I'm really seeing a lead strongly building or starting to build, I'd say, is mid lane. Valder's up an entire wave right now in CS. The Syndra, you know, we haven't really talked too much about it as we do see the Brand come on in, but it's gonna be a pretty easy walk away. No flash, no teleport burned, and I think Syndra can just stick around after that.
Speaking of teleport burned, Klezo Menai in the top lane already burned the teleport on the Mundo, going to be able to pick up a little bit of extra health here, which definitely does feel good as far as the laning phase goes, but does mean that we're not going to be seeing any, you know, roams down for that dragon. We're not going to be seeing any crazy cross-map plays between these two. Meanwhile, Inigo Montoya just going to be struggling a little bit with the Gnar. I'm guessing should just, you know, shove out this way, get it all the way under tower, get a back off, try to pick up, you know, maybe a few components for the... Oh, hold on.
Yeah, Comet with a beautiful stop there with the W going on in onto Zaffa, but the Brand is here. He is firing. He's running. Maker on the move. Meanwhile, on the top side, though, the Mundo going. The flash wasn't enough, and First Blood's going to go over to Eugene.
Yeah, and just as I was saying, right, it was a perfect time for Inigo Montoya to be looking to shove that wave in. And Eugene in the right place at the right time. That's that top jungle synergy that you love to see. You know that that happens because the top and jungler are communicating well. They say, hey, my laner is looking to get a shove in. We need to make something happen right now. But right here, even the equalizer going to be fully committed towards these grubs. Meanwhile, Inigo Montoya just in the wings to watch, but not going to be able to do anything with that puny boomerang.
Yeah, I think that was a good equalizer too. You know, get the grubs, get them quick. Don't let Brand get time to come on over. You saw he was bottom side, so clear as quick as you can. And it's got a very low cooldown. Like, it's already a quarter of the way back up. Rumble ult's low cooldown. Ooh.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta say, right, the early kill going over to... Hold on, never mind.
Oh,
no, who
Comet.
cares about analysis?
Yeah, he's found the Brand right there. The ult bouncing around. Eugene is here. Quality is as well, but Velder with a big stun right there. Gives another kill over to Eugene.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful stuff. Eugene now 2 kills under his belt there and 2 stacks on a Dark Seal. That's rough. Right?
That
you know, I
is.
mean, you get the Gnar directly into the wall and you think to yourself, all right, this is great. I get the Gnar into the wall. I get the stun. Maybe we even get a little bit of tower damage, and Mundo is immune. This is not Gwen. Mundo, however, still does go exactly where it is that he pleases in. There's so much priority in this mid lane right now, so much priority in this jungle, that there's just no chance for Lee Sinners to get anywhere near this dragon, so they're just going to be giving it up. But I don't think that Star Nation are actually going to commit to the dragon. Instead, we're looking towards a gank in the bot lane soon, as the Rumble is warmed up and not going to be able to do anything extra.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, you know, if there's a kill opportunity, you look for that. It's just a single Cloud Drake. It'll be the only Cloud Drake of the game. It's fairly weak as an individual Drake if it's the only one of it you're getting. So I think, especially early on, I think that's fine to prioritize otherwise. See Falter take a little bit of a trade up there. But yeah, like you were saying, like Lee Sinner hasn't been able to get onto any of these neutrals, but has done a very good job of counter jungling. Has just been all over SNE's jungle. When they went to take grubs, was on the red side. When he came down towards the dragon, went straight to the blue side. So has been doing good there to keep up in the CS. Needs to really do that to keep themselves in the game, especially with this lead that Rumble is starting to build. And like you were saying on the top side, Mundo goes where he pleases, and also he's got the ult. He can just pop that whenever, go back to full health, and take any trade he wants. It's got a pretty low cooldown. Hasn't popped it yet, though. I think he's saving it for something, like as an emergency. The dragon is started up, and Inigo Montoya kind of fishing around here. Maybe look for a kill, maybe won't. But the dragon will be secured by SNE. First drag of the game.
I mean, as you said, right? Cloud Drag doesn't necessarily do too much, but hold on. Speaking of a lot to do.
Yeah, Volder's got a lot to do trying to get out of here. The Ghost burned by the Lee Sin. They forced the flash out. And now the rest of SNE still trapped in this dragon pit. Helper is kind of keeping this Rumble separated. Going on in onto Comet. Valder is here, though. Huge ultimate from the Rumble. Gets one. Is it going to get a second? It will. They're going to lose Comet in the process and Valder, but it doesn't matter. A double kill going on for the Rumble is going to make it a triple kill right here. Huge fight for SNE.
That equalizer was absolutely insane, Raptor. I cannot believe how much value came out of that one. Eugene placed it perfectly. Valder, with the scatter of the week, managed to just stun the entire team up on it. And, you know, at risk of sounding like Joshi, it's just, you got to always remember, it's choke points, choke points, choke points, right? Every single time you're sitting in the jungle, especially against these AoE champions, you have to be so careful. But in the end, Lee Sinners also managed to get the ulti off, managed to get the passive procs off. A lot of damage in return, so it turns into a decent trade back from the winning formula. You know, 2 kills on the board, but that was a crazy precursor to what we might be seeing in some of these later team fights, Raptor.
I agree. And now the Rumble is 5-0 Okay, he's up full boots. He's already partially into his second item. So he's getting
9 stacks
ahead.
on a Dark Seal.
Yeah, that's to be terrified. I'd be terrified of those equalizers. Those will become much more painful as time goes on. As now the Mundo continuing to go where you please. And Montoya does damage, but cannot really take it. You know, he can't take what he's dishing out. He takes quite a beating from the Mundo. As we do see all the Void Grub's going to fall to SNE, so they have all 6. They'll have that extra split push power, which will be really good. I'm assuming that this Mundo took Demolish for turret pressure. I mean, he will shred a turret with that, especially with the double grubs. As we see the stun land on a quality player going in onto Valder. Trading pretty well. Valder getting kind of low, but missing the rocket. Not going to be able to follow up, and they're both going to back off. Both junglers are here, so there is a potential something could break out. But it looks like everyone's pinging this red buff. This could be the next big fight we see. Everyone's kind of rotating over here. Lee Sinner gets spotted on a ward, and I think they're just going to give this up. They're already in a rough position, not really the space you want to be at to take a fight, especially like you said, choke points, those matter. You know what's around with red buff? A lot of choke points. A lot of choke points.
I mean, that's the glory of the jungle, right? Every single time that you walk on and you might put yourself in position, just take so much extra damage. Meanwhile, look at this top lane, right? It's just Gnar versus Mundo farming into farming. Yes, Gnar is coming out on top. Yes, that is going to be Inigo Montoya getting closer and closer towards that Triforce. But Triforce is not the end-all be-all. Meanwhile, we are getting Klezomeni just getting so much closer to that finished Warmogs, but all right. Well, Equalizer, burn, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Not much gained even with that venture, though, from Eugene.
Yeah, no, now Eugene kind of dodging around, looking for Lee Sinner here, getting him low. They're going to charge right at him. He's going to burn to the ground. Fire meets fire. Well, machine fire wins there. Another kill on the board for Rumble. First time picking this in their rookie split, and already looking like this is something you should probably ban against him every single time.
Yeah, this Rumble pick was honestly a huge focal point of the draft, right? It was a Rumble first pick, and usually that's not something to be getting flex over. But, you know, with that, it's like, okay, well, we've see the Rumble, we'll take the brand, we'll take the bot lane duo, and we'll try to ban away from Comet here. But I don't know. I gotta say, I love Star Nation's, you know, their overall draft because they've got so much that they've done with it and just so much variability that they actually have been playing around very, very well. It's not just flex picks for the sake of being flex picks. It's flex picks that really do work.
Yeah, and those are the best kind of flex picks. They're flex picks that enable your team. They look stylish while you do it because you're flexing on them. Those are the best kind. So I'm happy to see that this is working out for them. I'm also just a big Rumble fan. That was the first champion I ever played in League of Legends and tried to main. You know what I used to do? I used to rush Warmogs on him.
Well, there's one champion that's been having a little bit of fun with that one right now. I mean, look at that top lane. Like, what do you do if you're a Inigo Montoya, right? Like, the Mundo is always going to be able to outtrade you. The Mundo is always going to be able to win out on this fight, and now we might be getting a 1v2.
This might be the only opportunity he's going to get, but going to walk away from Lee Sinner. The ult burns. Helper trying to look for Maker, but Comet is here, and Zaffa is not going to be able to get in onto him. The Hex Strike is going to fall. That's 2 on over for them. Hey, the notifier's fixed. It's Ocean Soul, baby. Let's go. And the ult is going to drop there from the Rumbles. Zaffa getting really low, has nowhere to go, gets knocked up, and Eugene goes godlike. Meanwhile, Comet gets the ult knock up and going to pick up that kill onto Helper. 2-0 for SNE, and they're going to take this turret as well. Push themselves to a 5,000 gold lead 15 minutes in.
Raptor, I have no idea how we're saying this SNE is not the first seed going into this. SNE is the underdogs going into this. The winning formula have a perfect record right now, and they are getting absolutely smashed. This does not look like number 2 versus number 1. This looks like a top tier team versus a team that would struggle to get to playoff contention, because it's not even that the winning formula is playing poorly. SNE just knows exactly what it is they need to do at all points. They know where the enemy team is. They know what their win conditions are, and they know what they need to do. Lee Sinners doesn't get to play the game.
Yeah, there wasn't even anything to call right there. He just died immediately. Valder with a huge scatter the week there. They might have the winning formula, but just like in SpongeBob, SNE is being plankton, and they've stolen the secret formula.
Yeah, I mean, just like that, it seems like the winning formula are going to have to be looking into those back pockets to try to feel out what it is that they're missing this time around. But I gotta say, this is a beautiful amount of play coming in from SNE. I mean, Lucian is just so much damage with the Infinity Edge Rush, even going to be going into a Lord Dominic's soon after. And there's nothing more that we can say about Eugene. Like, what the hell? 7-0, 10 stacks on a Dark Seal, 2 fully completed items, one of them being Shadow Flame on the Rumble already, less than 20 minutes in. If there's an MVP to pick, I don't know if there's a single other player it could go to.
I agree. Really, really, like, to perform like this on your first game like your first time playing this champion as a rookie, and to pop off like this is what you love to see. As takes down the Rift Herald, has 100% neutral objective rate right now in this game. Hasn't been a single neutral for the winning formula yet. I guess their winning formula does not involve dragons, heralds, or grubs, but will it involve barons? That is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it might not even involve towers, as SNE are just going to continue to pull out this gold lead, to pull out this momentum lead, right? You know, that's the top tower going down, the bot lane tower going down. Nothing in response from the winning formula here. Meanwhile, Eugene, Comet, and Maker just going to round out this mid lane to continue with this 1-3-1 split composition that we mentioned early on.
Pushing forward right here. Lee Sin gets a little bit. Lee Sinner gets a little bit of poke, as they are going to lose their turret. Shelly dropped. I went the wrong way with Shelly. You know, I saw they changed that. I know it wasn't written in the patch notes, but I saw they changed the Herald system a little bit. Where it used when this start of the season happened, if you dropped Herald and you got into it in charge before it did its own charge, it would only do that one charge. It wouldn't charge anymore. Now I'm seeing that it will do its own charge without you in it to get that extra charge damage. Because that was the way you originally did it, is you'd let it charge, then you'd hop into it to get a second charge to double your damage output. As Valder looking to dodge from Lee Sinner's going to get the ult down, but will fall. Isn't going to have enough an execute. Lee Sinner's going to pick up that kill. Good. Oh, good. Kind of just awareness to know that the Syndra was on the way down.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems to be a matchup of junglers right now. And that makes a lot of sense, right? The winning formula had 3 bans over towards that jungle position, right?
Quality.
Eugene. Oh my God.
The Mundo just goes where he pleases. I think this is what I said. Poke does nothing against Mundo. Corki, even with the E, even with the true damage, is still mostly a poke champion and does absolutely nothing there. And now both mids, we're down. They're coming back up. Dragon up in 8 seconds, though, without quality. I think the winning formula is going to have to give this up. Star Nation Esports looking so commanding right now. This team, like we said, they're second right now. They're 1 game behind their opponents in the winning formula. Even in game record, their game record winning formula is 8-1. They have lost 1 single game in a series, not a series yet. But Star Nation is 7-2. So their only losses came in their 1 series loss. Every other time, they have clean swept the games. And Now, oh, they find Helper. Helper trying to get away, but is not gonna. Valder gonna pick that kill up. Another really good scatter of the week. That's some really good ones this game. As the Baron is started up. They do not know it is worded. Inigo Montoya is here. Lee Sinners is here. The Ezreal is here. There's no Corki. There's no package anymore. Corki's been changed.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, you got to be careful, though. Baron does do a lot of damage right now. And there goes Lee Sinners. Comet, though, getting pretty low, getting beat up. Valder's going to save his support. Possibly. Nope, Lee Sinners will pick that up with the burn. And the Baron is stopped by TWF.
Eugene?
Oh, Eugene getting chased down on the run, trying to get away. The scatter of the week will not be enough, will get shut down finally. And TWF may have found their formula here. They may have found their opportunity to pick up 2, but that is enough. And now that's the call to go to the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a risky Baron play. Yes, you did get 1 player down, but you cannot be starting Baron blind into a brand, right? Baron just shreds so much resist, just shreds so much, and you don't really have that consistent percent magic health damage that the winning formula have on this team, and the Baron goes down immediately.
Oh, they might. Yeah, but can they get out of here? Lee Sinner's going to get stunned up. A double stun from Valder.
Oh!
Picks up 1. Oh, it's going to be Klezomani who's going to pick up the other right there. So 2 do not get away with the Baron. And SNE manages to at least keep it out of all of their hands. But 3 with it should be able to do a pretty good ability to stop a push here.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it right here. It's going to be able to get this tower taken on down, but Maker just going to drop the culling and drop on out of that mid lane, as we're not really getting too much control from this Baron pickup, right? I mean, yes, that's great that you got a neutral objective, but it's not like you're going to be able to turn this into too particularly much from the winning formula. You just don't have the gold. You just don't have the control just yet. It might be a 2,000 gold deficit, but right now, the thing that's more important are the item breakpoints. So if you look at those item breakpoints, you have Velder, you have Eugene, just sitting at very, very close to these super important items. Meanwhile, Rel looking for an in, not going to be able to find it.
Yeah, it's gonna just walk on out of there. Was Valder? I was confused. Oh, okay, I was confused how the blue buff got into the river. I was like, I didn't think I saw Syndra.
Ivern was banned. Like, where did Daisy come from?
Yeah, I saw it jump out, and I was like, wait, hang on. I don't see an Ivern in this game. What's going on here? Finally, an objective gonna fall for TWF. It's actually their second. They did get that top tower earlier, but second objective starting to claw their way back in. They've got this gold lead down to 1,000 right now as they're all chasing after the Mundo. But again, he goes where he pleases. I don't know if you're going to be able to really catch him, Helper. He's looking for it, but they're just going to back on off. As meanwhile, SNE pushes to the mid lane. A huge equalizer there, and Lee Sinner gonna just get roasted. Falls on down. Eugene going golden. I don't know if he really needed to, but I guess he's probably closely done to his Zhonya's. And Inigo Montoya now the target of their attack. Maker and Valder looking on the side there. Huge onto Zappa. He's going to fall. Valder, though, will go down as well. A double kill for a quality player. Maybe bit off a little bit more than they can chew. SNE kind of starting to run for the hills. Comet on the run. Inigo Montoya and quality coming. Here comes Helper. There's no brand here. They might be able to turn this if TWF's got to be careful. If they walk into a flamethrower, it is going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Eugene and Klezomani just do so much damage on the return, right? You know, just constantly poking while retreating, and the winning formula just have to respect that, right? Just not much that they can do about that. In the meantime, at the very least, going to be able to make use of the gold that they just picked up, right? As I mentioned, it's all about those item breakpoints. We did hit that 3 item breakpoint for the Rumble for Eugene, but right now it's a question as to who can really pull out the advantages.
Yeah, right now I think Eugene goes golden. Quality was looking there. The teleport coming in from Montoya. Gonna get knocked up and stunned. Trying to run on out. The equalizer is gonna drop. It's gonna cut this fight in half. Lee Sinner will fall to Eugene. Meanwhile, Helper trying to get there in the back, but Eugene's gonna pick up a double kill. The Mundo is just running rampant in the back. They do manage to pick up Valder, but will lose their mid laner. Their AD carry will lose their top laner. Will they lose the top on the SNE side? They will, but they will get aced in exchange. SNE double kill over to Maker. Huge fight. And they're going to get this Dragon Soul. And I think it's only a matter of time at this point till they put away this game.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it an ace, that's the full-on Ocean Soul. And one of the big things that a lot of these players have been missing out on in their builds is the survivability, right? Outside of the Mundo, pretty much every single member of SNE has just been going for damage on damage on damage. And now that there's some survivability on top of that, you don't have to pick up some lifesteal from anywhere. Omnivamp isn't something that would be nice to sneak into a build. Instead, you just got the Ocean Soul always ticking, which into a poke composition kind of mitigates a huge amount of what makes that composition good, right? Ocean Soul on a poke composition becomes essentially unwinnable. Ocean Comp against a poke composition negates the biggest strength of the poke composition. And let's take another look at the fight. Inigo Montoya teleports into a rough position. Meanwhile, the equalizer just splits the team as Klezmanai just walks straight into Lee Sinners. Beautiful all in from Helper, but there's no backup. Quality player far on the backline as Klezmanai is just allowed to wreak havoc on this backline. The dash in from Ezreal still gonna get stunned up and just a rough position on rough position. Look at this from SNE, just running straight forward, not a care in the world at every point of the map.
Yeah, and it took 3 of them to kill the Mundo. Like it took all of them to kill it. So if it's just the brand, it's just the Gnar, I don't think Mundo really cares. It's super easy. And then that pick in the mid lane is going to be another outer turret. So all of those have fallen. It's just the base turrets at this point. SNE on the cusp of taking the win here. They're going to go for the Baron. But will they be able to do it this time without getting run down?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's the big question. But, you know, Lee Sinner's nowhere in the area means that Velder just going to be able to just play guard dog with the Syndra. Not going to be doing anything too crazy, not going to be doing anything insane here, just going to play it nice, slow, and controlled. Now we're getting a little bit more gold onto each and every member of SNE.
Yeah, now the gold up 5,000 again. They've managed to claw that lead back up, looking very dominant. They've got Baron, they've got the Soul, they've got the items, and now it's just a matter of can they find the fight to close this game out. This is the hard part. This is the spiking point. You know, looking at the Corki, looking at the Ezreal, they're at their 3-item power spikes. This could make this difficult to get through. It is double AD carry. They might be poke, but they could still clear a wave pretty well, especially with that brand. Meanwhile, Inigo Montoya up on the top side. I don't know what he's doing up there, but they do know he's there. Mundo split pushing onto the bottom. It's a 4-1 right now. Montoya on the way down. Looking maybe like he might go for a flank. Yes, he is going to look for the flank here. Oh, but throws the boomerang, so he is spotted. Meanwhile, the Mundo walks forward, continuing to do what he pleases. It's just it's so scared. The Corki's like, please don't get too close.
I mean, look at this Mundo, right? 270 CS, just 3.5 items in. Who cares about the Mundo? Look at the team.
Yeah, the equalizer is huge right there. Meanwhile, the rest of Helper and Inigo go on in. They do manage to get the Syndra, but they lose 4 in the process. Eugene gets the double there, and now Quality on the run, trying to escape this Mundo, but I don't think he's gonna. He will fall. That's gonna be an ace for SNE. That's gonna be the game. Ladies and gentlemen, in a shocking stun to start this series out, SNE is gonna take game number 1. Just over 30 minutes.
And that wasn't just a win from SNE. That was an absolute stomp, Raptor. Unbelievable gameplay coming in from Eugene. Beautiful equalizers, beautiful play from the team as a whole. And to top it all off, that draft was so well executed. SNE went into this series as the underdogs, but they are absolutely not looking like it after that game one. Now, the question is, does the winning formula have a way how to bounce back from that, right? Game ones could just be, that one off, right? Everyone gets one. TL got a game off of T1, the last time they met up at MSI, right? One game does not mean the entire series. So don't go anywhere because game two is right around the corner.
have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Vanquisher League. We just saw a dominating performance out of SNE and their rookie jungler Eugene on the Rumble. Anti, that was incredible to watch.
Yeah, Raptor, what the hell was that? I mean, we watched that draft, right? And we watched as the winning formula said, hey, let's target ban Eugene. This should be fine. You know, throw in the Ivern, throw in the Lilia, throw in the Shinzao ban. Who cares? Let's just get rid of only junglers. Then we can really pinch Eugene's pool. Should be fine then, right? First pick, blue side, Rumble, slammed immediately onto the table. And Eugene pulls off a dominating performance. You know, I don't think I've seen a Medjay stacked that, a Darksteel stacked that fast in a competitive match in a long time, right? I mean, the last time I saw something stack up that fast was, you know, a Nasus versus a Nasus player versus nobody, right? You know, it's just, there's no real way how to quantify how well Eugene was playing on that Rumble, not just in the counter ganks, not just in the timings, but also those ultimates just shredded through the entirety of the winning formula. And not only was it because of how much gold was on Eugene's Rumble, but also the placements of these ultis was so good.
Oh, it was. I thought it was just immaculate. That's what I'm looking for in a Rumble player. The hit those equal, like nothing else matters. All you have to do is hit equalizers and you win. And he hit them all fantastically. Even if it didn't hit somebody, it cut fights. Just that's what you're looking for. That is what you're looking for. That's some big kahunas to drop that first pick. First time ever as a rookie. Love to see it. I can't wait to see what sort of draft adaptations we get from both these teams. Hopefully, they're using our wonderful sponsor for today. That's right. You know them. You love it. I'm talking about Pro Comps.
I mean, Exactly as we were saying, right? A lot of that strength really did come from the draft itself. And with pro comps, you too can find your way into a solid draft like that one. Pro comps is a free to use software that just gives you ways how to find out what is it that my team likes playing, what is synergistic here, what is a strong pick on this patch, what does the enemy team like to play, right? It's all about that pre-game strategy to make sure you understand your win conditions, and Pro Comps does a wonderful job at putting you into the right position for that, right? I mean, that last draft, we also had SNE with the favored draft, according to ProComps. It's a free, I mean, I gotta say, right? Free is a great price to have for a software like that one, unless you're ProComps. What are you doing? This is not something that's worth $0. This is something that's worth way more than that, but you can join over 200,000 other users in using ProComps. In the meantime, we got to see whether or not the winning formula has downloaded it themselves. Right now, they're taking away the Syndra. They're dropping a few of those jungle bans instead, just trying to make sure that Vailder doesn't get a hold of that Syndra, because as we noted, right, it wasn't just the Rumble alone, it was the strength of the team built around the pick.
Yeah, and that's sort of the real thing. I guess they thought it wasn't the Rumble. They thought, hey, those stuns from Syndra, hey, that Mundo we could not break through were the main problem here. Eugene actually going to get rid of the Rumble. Doesn't want to give them the opportunity to pick it.
I guess not, right? I mean, it's one of those moments where you say, hey, I fully understand this champion. I know that this champion is something that you have to watch out for, so let's just take it off the table. Let's not think about it. And speaking of champions that you have to watch out for, there's the Tristana that we were missing out on in that last game. Super, super powerful mid laner and AD carry flex pick. In the meantime, Lucian immediately going to be picked up here. I would be hard-pressed to not see a Nami pick, but maybe we see something else. It's the Renekton. Okay. So that is likely going over to Klezomenai. And that does open up a few opportunities, right? We could see the Renekton Nidalee, right? I do think that you probably shouldn't be playing Nidalee in pretty much any elo unless your name's like Canyon or something. Nidalee's so hard to make work, but it's definitely an option. Meanwhile, we've got the Electric Bear and the Caitlyn from Arcane on the Rift. So it's interesting to see how these teams really start to pan out, and Ivern going to be picked up.
Yeah, after you said it, I kind of hope Comet takes the Renekton. I just want to see this balls to the wall aggressive support, just like, what, I don't care what you are. I'm a crocodile here. I'm stunning you. You're gone. That would be kind of funny. That would be definitely a flex pick. Now I need to try that.
That would be funny. That would be unbelievably grief to put the early game champion that needs a ton of gold into a position where you lose out on a ton of experience early and don't get any gold, but it would be really, 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 really funny.
Yeah, it would be. It would be hilarious. As we see the Corki ban gonna come on through. No one wants to deal with that. There's a Lux and Renata as well as Nautilus. So a lot of engage with the supports. I know technically Lux is an enchanter, but you're playing Lux for the engage. You're playing her for the Qs. And Hui gonna come out here. No Hui. I do love to see that. I think that's probably going to be support Hui. I know he's really good in the mid, but he is also a pretty good flex into support. He's got a lot of different abilities he can use. He's got a lot of different tools in his kit for a lot of different situations. So he works out pretty well there. So the Karma is going to come on through. And that means that all that is left is probably the top side. It's going to be Cho'Gath. Ooh, that's not something we get to see a lot of. Yeah.
All right, I don't hate the Cho'Gath pick here. I wouldn't hate to see a set in response, right? It's all about dealing with these health stackers, but okay, so it is going to be that Renekton top lane, not going to be getting any crazy shenanigans. Renekton top, Pyke support, Hui mid, very, very standard from the side of SNE. And when I say standard, I do not mean standard. That is not a Hui mid. That is going to be the Lucian mid. So one of the issues that Lucian has had in the mid lane is he lost out on a lot of his damage because you're tied to a support, right? You need these buffs in order to make the full use of that champion's damage. Now, by pairing him with an Ivern, it just deals with that incredibly well. And we're already starting up with some shenanigans on both sides of the map here. 5-stack from both teams, but nothing too crazy going on just yet. Eugene walking in front, trying to make sure that nothing crazy is going to happen. And I got to say, Lee Sinners got to be really careful, going to be showing up really late, but you really can't stop the Ivern from stealing your jungle if he feels like it. So right now, the biggest question is, what are we going to be seeing from these guys?
Hopefully some action. We are going to see Lee Sinners and Inigo Montoya V3 find out this trap. Okay. Got the ward. Good. But they got to be careful. I'm not... Wait. Did they? Yeah, they did swap sides. I'm not a big fan of SNE's comp here. I think there's too much early game, and they don't have really anything to destroy the tanks. I think Lucian, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I don't think of Lucian as a tank shredding AD carry. I think of him as someone who is good for bursting down targets, but not as good in sustained fights, which is what you really need to deal with Cho'Gath and Volibear. So little unsure of that. Renekton also a little too early game. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see how SNE pilots this. I feel like they have to get ahead early if they want to win this.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I got a little bit confused there for a second because you had mentioned SNE not having the DPS. I was like, wait, hold on. We got Tristana and Caitlyn. And it's like, okay, wait, hold on. You said Lucian. Yeah. We're looking at it all backwards. Right. But either way, right? So as you said, right, SNE on the red side need to find a way how to really make sure that they can get ahead early. And one of the best ways for you to get ahead early is with these early game champions, with the Renekton, with the Pyke, right? Where once Pyke hits level 6, that mid game is something that you can start to snowball directly into a crazy late game, right? Because the Pyke passive on the ultimate just has so much gold shared around that you don't necessarily have the same kind of, pressure to really get ahead in the same way.
Yeah, you gotta find those opportunities to get ahead here. As honestly, the Cho'Gath doing pretty good into the Renekton. I usually think that's a rougher matchup for the Cho'Gath, just because he doesn't really have once Renekton's on him, he's just doing so much and get right back out. But he's holding his own. He's using the passive very effectively. As Valder looking for quality player going back on in, but the shield is there. The flash is forced. At least Sinners is there to prevent any further aggression now. Montoya on the run is gonna get shredded. First blood for SNE. And now Eugene, you are not on a rumble this time, buddy. You got to be a little bit more careful. And Valder, no mana. Oh, but Lee Sinners getting pretty low. The flash forward, it's going to be enough. He's got to pick up the kill. Valder, you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, right? So much of Lucian mid was neutered by the fact that he has to be tethered to some kind of support to get the full damage off. And that's the beauty of this Ivern pick, right? So much damage coming in, and in the meantime, top lane going so well for SNE here. Kizumenai just trying to make something happen, but unfortunate for the for Inigo Montoya, going to be taking up a lot of damage there against the Renekton, who still hasn't even had to back here, still holding on to that teleport. I honestly think you probably should just look to shove out this wave, make use of the gold that you've already got, teleport back perhaps, but in the meantime, Quay Pyke bot is something you have to be really careful about.
Yeah, you can't just let that. You got to be very careful. You mess up, Pyke's going to run away with it, get all that gold, and Way is going to become difficult, but that's only if he lives here. Lee Sinner coming on in, looking for Comet. Comet getting pretty low. Gonna pick up that kill, though, onto Lee Sinner. I don't know if that was worth it. 4 players, 1-for-1, 4v2, 1-for-1 trade. Give that to SNE.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it works out, but I will say Maker being able to stay alive through all of that is a huge boon for the side of SNE there. I mean, not only are you able to get more and more golden experience onto this way, you're able to make use of so much time used up by Lee Sinners. This Volibear just trying to force early things to happen, right? Trying to make sure that he can be a part of this game when he's still at a strong point. But in the meantime, it just turns into a little bit of a snowball from SNE. But a snowball is what they needed. This isn't the winning position. This is the position they need in order to start to look for a winning position.
Yeah, this is the point where you've got to try to find it. Just because you have a lead doesn't mean anything. It is Lucian. It is Renekton. There isn't a lot of scaling besides the Hui here. So SNE really needs to push the issue. Like in this Dragon, really smart idea. They need to force the game to go faster. Because the faster it goes, the better it goes for them. Because they can get away with it before the double 80 carry comes online, before the Cho'Gath becomes a monster, before the Volibear gets tanky. Like the only thing that doesn't really scale is the Karma, and who cares? It's Karma. She's just there for the lane and those little shields later on. But 1,000 gold lead for SNE right now as Inigo Montoya continuing to have it rough in this top lane. Klezomania has just been all over him this entire series so far.
Yeah, I mean, Klezomania has just been so good on these top laners. The first game, it was the Mundo. This time, it is the Renekton. So, I mean, whether or not this guy is playing a champion that wins super hard early or a champion that wins super hard late, it doesn't seem to matter. Just much like this mid lane gank doesn't really seem to do much outside of force ultimates out of both mid laners.
Yeah, so easy right there. Getting those both is going to be nice. I mean, they are pretty low cooldown, so they'll be back up pretty quick. And now Renekton continuing this aggression on the top side. No, it's not going to look for the kill, but is getting really far ahead here. And SNE, again, with the Pro Comps draft score looking really big here. It actually kind of surprises me. I thought it would be much lower for them. This Comet's going to miss. Maker's going to get rooted up, and Zaffa going to look for it. The ult coming through, though, from Makers. A lot of damage, and Lee Sinner is forced to flash over the wall. Eugene is looking for him, and he's going to pick him up. Bear meets tree, tree beats bear.
Yeah, I mean, so much of the time we see this Ivern come out in the hands of someone who really understands the champion to their fullest extent, because, you know, who else is going to play Ivern outside of an Ivern player, right? And Eugene's Ivern got banned away the last game. This time around, gonna sneak through the draft because of that Syndra, because of that Mundo, right? It's not just a matter of single person carrying the game. It's a matter of each and every part of that team composition feeling like it just takes over the game for the side of SNE, and TWF are now in quite a bit of trouble. They're down about 1,300 gold. This could turn into a little bit more of a lead, as Lee Centers might be getting caught out here.
Yeah, he's going to flash over the wall, but Valder goes right over after him. Isn't going to pick up the kill, but it's only a dash, so doesn't lose much for it. And SNE just continuing to kind of scale up this game. They haven't spread that gold lead further apart, but they are getting a lot of sums and a lot of spells, and that's kind of really what you need. You just need to start inching away any sort of ability for TWF to make a comeback. Comet looking, gonna miss that. That's okay. But yeah, you just look, you try to force flashes, you force ultimates, you force long cooldowns, you force them to have less to work with, which makes them desperate, which makes them easier to make mistakes, which means you can get the wins and accelerate the game faster. That's really what SNE needs to do, and they're doing great at it. Like they keep finding kills, they keep finding like just opportunities to catch them out, like that flashback there. They're doing a very good job. But like you said, this is not a done deal game yet, even 4-1. I mean, again, it's only 1,500 gold almost right now. It's all about how they play these next, I'd say about 10 minutes or so. They really need to keep accelerating this. The Dragon's coming up. That could be a good opportunity for them as kind of a backup for themselves as Renekton going forward, looking for Montoya. Montoya trying to get away, gonna knock up the Cho'Gath and is forced to flash after Renekton ult. I don't know if that was really worth the trade.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rough position to find yourself in. Meanwhile, looking for the dive, flash forward. Klezomenai now going to be able to get on out here, chased down by the bear. Ultimate also coming down from Lee Sinners, but the Renekton's still able to survive just a little longer. Meanwhile, the dive in the bot lane, Maker in a lot of trouble. The dive not going to come through, but Comet in the top lane trying to make a trade. A little bit too much craziness means that the bear's still in trouble.
It's hunting season. Lee Sinners will go down. There's there's Ivern this time. There, that works for the Daisy. Inigo Montoya teleports on in. I don't know if that was worth it, bud. He has got 4 people here who are taking. Oh, that flash was painful to watch. I visibly cringed. Oh, the pain.
Well, that's rough.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Montoya.
Yeah, meanwhile, speaking
of rough, he's in a rough spot. He's got 2 people on him. He's getting super low. They got to be careful, though. Don't want to get eaten by him, and they will pick up that kill. Valder's going to go on a killing spree, and actually the ult was down. I just noticed that. So... That's going to be that down. Meanwhile, the Dragon will go over to TWF, so they will slow the scaling towards the Soul, which it's Chem plant that actually could be really useful for the side of SNE, given the double 80 carry comp that TWF is running. And Maker is having a little bit rougher time now with this 1v2 situation. He flashes out, still gets rooted up, but is going to dodge much else, gets ignited, so that is down. Meanwhile, the grubs are falling on the top side. They're going to split grubs this time, 3-3 each. And this could be really useful still. Like, you get a little bit of time on a turret with Renekton or Lucian, it's some time to shred it. But I don't know if it's useful for the bottom lane. As we see everyone's kind of heading back to normal positions for the most part. There's a little bit of invade going up on the top side from Eugene, trying to make up for that unfortunate flash. And Lee Sinners is down here, though. Oh, he does spot him out, but the dash will get Comet out, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, either way, now that we've got a little bit of time to breathe, gotta say, SNE in a pretty dang solid position for now, right? Now, the biggest issue that they have is Maker needs a little bit more damage, right? A little bit more gold. You can weak side the Hui. You can definitely allow the Hui to just farm up on what minions he can get, but you got to remember, this is your only real magic damage threat, right? So while it is going to likely be the Blackfire Torch into the Liandry, is going to be a lot of that percent max health damage burn, it's going to be pretty difficult if Maker doesn't get a little bit more gold under his belt, right? Because in the meantime, TWF will be able to just start itemizing towards that armor, itemize towards just armor health stacking. I doubt that Velder is going to be going for the Bork. It's definitely an option here. Meanwhile, gotta be looking into this mid lane.
Oh yeah, the quality goes forward on to Velder, but there are so many people here. The flash forward, he's getting really aggressive. He's going to go on a rampage and now going to get stunned up by the bear, but Lee Sinner has to back up. There are 4 people here. Maker teleports on in. And Valder manages to get away. Flash for flash, ult for ult. Does barrier as well, but I'd say it's worth it to pick up that first kill of the game on Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana going down their quality, got baited up by Velder. It was a beautiful position from the Lucian there, and the teleport in from Maker might have been a little bit overzealous, but at the very least, it does mean that someone is going to be there to pick up the wave, does also allow Hui to rotate up towards this top side, get a little bit of gold under his belt, a little bit of experience. as Klezmenai just going to continue to farm up on their neck and try to push this lead before the clock starts to fall off. We haven't really been seeing much of the resets coming in from Comet just yet on the pike, so we're not really seeing the cash money really start to flow in just yet, but at the very least, this pike is something that the winning formula always have to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I think it's done well. Like it's gotten a lot. It has 50% participation rate, kill participation rate right now. But Eugene has been caught. They're looking for him. He's on the run. He's just gonna get blown to pieces. Quality and Sala just do so much damage. And now he's a little bit of pressure. TWF gonna go for this Herald. But like you said, 50% kill participation on the pike. But really need to see him get the gold. Like I see the reason they pick it. They pick the pike because you want the gold. You want to snowball, and he helps facilitate snowballs very quickly. But hasn't really got. I mean, he's given a little bit of passive. No, actually, no, he hasn't done it. I don't think he's actually got a single even assist. So no gold shared yet from our boy. And he really needs to get some of that sharing though, as he's trying to steal it from the jungle. That would have been kind of funny.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Maker. Takes half his health and damage. So does Quality in the process. Meanwhile, though, Klez goes forward. The bear going too. Lee Sinner's looking for an opportunity here to maybe kill this Renekton. They're chasing after him, but Eugene is here. Valder going to pick up that kill. Goes unstoppable. Looking for Zala. Has the ult. Chasing forward. Looking for Helper too. More shields are here. Inigo Montoya as well. Valder going to try to pick up this kill before they go down. And Comet finally gets the ult. Gets two, actually, to share the gold. It's a shutdown for him and a double kill. Meanwhile, that is going to be Valder falling. That's actually the shutdown that was on to him. Eugene trying to duel the Cho'Gath. It's a little bit hard. You are just a Cho'Gath. I guess you're more of an... You're an Ivern. You can't really duel the Cho'Gath.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that Heart Seal is finished, we're going to start to see some of that scaling up. The Cho'Gath right now just walking in towards that dragon. Ultimate is available, so you have to turn onto Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, now they're going to stun him up. Lee Sinners is here. They're looking for Montoya. Montoya getting super low. The teleports are coming through. They've got to back up here. Quality is here. The ult coming through from Lee Sinner. They're looking for it. Eugene's going to drop the redemption, but will it be enough to get him out? It will not. It's going to be a shutdown going on to Quality. Comet and Eugene are running for the hills. The bear, though, with the smackdown. Gonna stun him up. The ult coming through. Comet's gonna eat that up blind. And now Lee Sinner's Root of Valder is here looking for him. Maker is here as well. Huge damage coming up, but Valder, you can't frontline into the bear. You are Lee Sin. They're gonna back up. They're getting pretty low. The hook will not land, and now Inigo Montoya is here and saying, hey, you killed my father, Lee Sinner, and now you must die if you come any closer. Looking for him. Comet's going to pick him up. This might actually end bad, but he's going to get out just fine. And the Chem Dragon going to go the way of TWF. Maker has been found out, though. The knock-up gets him, and he gets munched like a delicious little snack. Nom, nom, nom. And now Valder going to get anything? Nope, Helper's going to pick up that kill. This is the point. TWF, the scaling coming online. We said S&E had the early game, but we have questions about the scaling later on, and it's starting to show. The cracks are starting to come through. TWF going to take the turret, try to get another charge. They're hunting Eugene. And they're taking everything in the kitchen sink right now. So they're just actually going to use the Herald to get out.
I gotta say, right, why are teams always going backwards with this Herald? I'm not 100% certain as to what the rationale is. Maybe it's the guaranteed slow push that comes in later on. But honestly, sometimes you do just kind of want to take that guaranteed tower damage. Either way, all criticisms aside, the winning formula right now showing us exactly why they were first seed going into this, right? A lot of strong play, even around S&E's stronger points, right? It's these mid-game fights that really matter. That is mid-game fights that really decide who has the momentum in this match here. And right now, S&E, it's not that their draft itself is poor. It's just you're finding these fights that go on a little bit longer than you want them to, and the winning formula are just coming out on top each and every time now, right? You need these resets for Comet. You need the fights to have the frontliners stay alive for long enough, but the only real frontliner you've got is Klezomenai on that Renekton, who's not going to be getting that uber tanky style just yet, even with all those Iron Shields. And you want to still be able to put those Iron Shields onto your carries, so that way you can proc things like the Lucian passive, right? Make sure that Maker stays alive for as long as possible. And in the meantime, it's just a little bit of struggling coming in from SNE.
Yeah, a little bit of a struggle, but they still have the kill lead. They're still close in this game, and there's still an opportunity. Remember, they have a 5-2 Lucian. They have the 2-1 Renekton. He did build a little bit of armor pen with that cleaver, so there's still a chance. There's still a chance SNE can pull this out. But they're going to have to try to be a little cheekier, I think, with these plays. They've got to find, with the scaling coming online, they've got to look for picks. TWF has been roaming pretty close-knit together so far. Lee Sinner and Helper just kind of joining up, hanging out. And Maker is continuing to suffer this game. Quality goes for the redemption's going to come down, but it will not matter. Neither will the ult. They pick up a kill. Now Comet and Valder looking for something here, looking for Helper, maybe trying to pick something up before this goes bad, but Valder will fall, eats the ultimate, and now Eugene and Comet trying to duel for the ult coming through. It's gonna miss. Comet will go down. Zala will pick up that kill, and now Inigo Montoya trying to duel the Renekton will fall. So 1 for 3 in favor of TWF, and that's the call, even without it. Out their top laner to go for the Baron. It's just Eugene. I guess no, Klezo can't get over here, so it's just gonna be him.
It was a 1 for 3, but that's a 1 for 3 with only the jungler to stop them. And right now, Maker trapping them in the pit. This could be a decent fight here. Eugene over the wall looking for the opportunity, not going to be able to get it. It's going to be Lee Sinners picking up that Baron. And the winning formula have found their opening. They found their way past that scary mid game to early game from the side of Star Nation, and now it's starting to look more and more in the winning formula's favor. And I gotta say, Raptor, right now, it's a difficult position to find yourself in as SNE, right? You know, you won game 1, super, super hard. Game 2, play a different style of composition, and you lose out. It's hard as a player to not fall into these results-based thinking, right? Where you think to yourself, oh, well, you know, draft different, we not win it bad, right? But it's not like the game's over. It's not like the draft is something that they can't play. It's just a matter of finding their ins, finding their victories, finding their opportunities to go for these death ball composition moments. Meanwhile, Quality taking a decent bit of damage in that top lane. Not too much put out by Maker just yet, though, as Maker, the sole percent max health damage shred on the team, is not consigned to the same kind of burst that we have seen from way before.
Yeah, so getting a little bit on there. Oh, Valder may have found Lee Sinners. Nope, never mind. Okay, so it's this Maker trying to hold off 3 in the top side. That turret will fall pretty handily. 6,000 gold lead building up for TWF now. SNE going to try to trade it for this dragon, and they will get that pretty uncontested. I don't think Lee Sinners and Inigo Montoya want to take the one-way trip in for that. As the gold lead, still 6,000 TWF right now. They have managed to build that up. Bounties are online for SNE, so there's a chance for them to get a little bit of that swing gold back. But it'd be nice to have the dragon in the pocket. A little bit of Chem Dragon, a little shield and nasty boost. Actually be a really big buff with the Ivern. Getting those shields is Klezo. Facing down Inigo Montoya. Ooh, Valder takes so much damage there. So much. The double AD carry comp is so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, look at that damage. Look at that tower taking. Look at that siege coming in from the winning formula, right? You got the Caitlyn trap set up. You've got the tower damage coming in from Quality player. And, you know, Zafa and Quality are just this two-man squad that are able to barrel down these towers largely because of these meat shields with Lee Sinners, with Inigo Montoya, with the disengage ability from Helper on the Karma, right? And once again, the winning formula in a position where they can just start to take over the map. It seems to be something about blue side going on this time around, Raptors. Both of the teams on blue side have started to look more and more dominant as the day's gone on.
Yeah, they're starting to kind of come online. I think that first game was really a warm-up for them. They're just getting ready, kind of feeling out their opponents. It's always sometimes a good thing to do. It's why, it's like you said earlier, it's hard to really look into the first game of the day, because it could be just, hey, we're just brushing off some rust, or hey, we're just trying to feel out what they're going to pick, what they're feeling right now. So you can never look too much into it, but it matters beyond that. How will you do game 2? Can you make sure it's not 2-0? How will you do game 3? Now that your opponent's tasted loss, will they adapt? Will they still be cheeky with their picks like we've seen in this game? I think this is I don't know about you, but I think this is a pretty cheeky comp they're kind of trying to run here overall. So I think that will be interesting to see how these adaptations come online. But this game is still not over. TWF still has to break down that nexus if they want to win this game. And SNE just needs to hold out. They need to find those picks. And if they can get them, there's still a good chance here for them. But I think Maker especially needs to really find a way online as Lee Sinner finds Klezo. Klezo going to dash double through. Lee Sinner gets the ult down. Klezo going to take a redemption for himself. And now the hunt is on with 1 ult down for the side of TWF. SNE only burned 1 as well. Zala eating a huge ult from Maker there. Now Eugene on the side just getting ripped by Koality, managing to shield himself and get out just in time. But yeah, it feels like SNE is just getting kind of dragged around right now. You're seeing the pressure on the top side now. You're seeing more pressure on the bottom side. They're just looking. If they get 1 pick here, they manage to pick off Valder or Maker, the wave clear is just gone. And it's going to be really hard to defend it as Klezo going in onto Inigo Montoya. We saw this battle earlier, win in Klezo's favor, but Inigo is not the same Cho'Gath from earlier. He's been putting in the work. He's been getting the gains. He's been drinking that protein powder, that aka the minions. He is a beefy boy. And now the turrets are just falling like paper.
Yeah, I mean, Inigo has put in the grind, has put in the hours, but oh my god, Eugene has put in his entire body. The Ivern taking so much damage in response here. Comet trying to make something happen. Meanwhile, TWF looking to make a statement in game number 2.
Oh yeah, they are. That's going to be a double kill there for Koality. They're going to trade it back. Maker will pick up Lee Sinner. Klezo on the run. He cannot fight this Cho'Gath anymore. The Renekton has fallen. The new dinosaur is in charge. It's Cho'Gath. And this is TWF making the push, trying to end this game. They have to be careful. They don't have their tank right with them. Klezo going forward. Zal's trying to get out of there. And they are going to walk away. Koality has to be careful, though. Stepping up too far could easily set things off against them. The redemption is going to fall. And so much poke coming from the side of TWF. Comet is here, so this could be their opportunity. The hook goes wide, and the last inhibitor is going to fall. TWF just wants to clean house with this base. They want to break it. They want to shatter it, and they just want to leave it. SNE's base in tatters. They start backing up, almost 10,000 gold up, 28 and a half minutes in this game.
Yeah, it's slow, it's controlled, it's explosive. We're already getting another fight.
Yeah, here we go. Quality getting low. Helper almost dying too. Klezo almost had it there. Inigo is going to sacrifice himself. Klezo going to pick up that kill. And this might be the fight SNE was looking for. They are on the hunt. They are looking. They're getting kind of low, though. They got to be careful. Eugene is going to get taken up by Zalas. The ult coming through from the Volley Bear. He's getting into the line, but he has been feared. He is on the run. And SNE, he jumped the gun a little bit right there. Was not respecting the power of Cop Bear.
Yeah, I mean, just was not anticipating that one in the slightest. Meanwhile, right now we're just going to be looking at a little bit of a lull state, right? You know, that's 3 inhibs down on SNE's side. And the winning formula have really tightened up their game plan this time around, right? I mean, Inigo Montoya and Lee Sinners are the only ones really dying in any of these fights. Meanwhile, the carries, the rest of the squishies on the team, have been standing right behind their meat shields, right? Combined 3 deaths across 3 rolls. Meanwhile, the rest of the deaths going on to the meat shields makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you're the ones taking all the damage, you're the ones taking all the CC, you're the ones taking all the attention from the enemy team. Meanwhile, you're going to be seeing quality Lee Sinners and Inigo looking for that Baron sacking play here. Smite into no consume. It's simply going to be a great time for the Cho being as large as possible. You know, just kind of cumbering on over.
What's his health right now? Can we get a health check on the Cho'Gath? I want to know what his health is. I gotta see what this Cho'Gath health is. I can't see it. I just realized his eye had oh no, wait, we did. Oh, okay. What was it? What was it? I can't even read it. It's so tiny.
I think that's almost 6,000. That was like 5,800, or something along those lines. Like that is an absurd amount of health there.
And this is why you don't skip leg day as Cho'Gath.
Yeah, I mean it's all about that bulk. 5,884 and counting, by the way, as Eugene, on the other hand, taking a lot of damage from the Caitlyn, which also going to be triggering a little bit of that health scaling.
Yeah, the fight's breaking out. Lee Sinner goes right on in, sets up the turret. It's gone. Inigo Montoya picks up Klezo. He is gone. Valder is going to get eaten. He is gone. Maker is gone. Everyone on the side of SNE almost dies. TWF going to pick up game number 2.
Yeah, and just as we said, Raptor, game number 1 was so good from Star Nation. And now game number 2, the winning formula is showing us exactly why they're our first seed going into this, why they are the ones expected to win. And they really managed to tighten up that game plan, right? I mean, they say, hey, let's just play for scaling. Let's not overcomplicate things. Let's go for very simple things where it's nothing too unbelievably crazy. And let's not lose our heads once we get to that mid game. And once they got past that mid game tipping point, it was all downhill from there for SNE. But now, game number 1 went to the side of SNE in a dominating fashion. Game number 2, super back and forth at the very beginning until it became a slow, controlled choke out by the winning formula. And now, game number 3 is on the corner. So don't go anywhere, because I'm just dying to see what happens next.
I am too.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Vanquisher League. We just saw the winning formula manage to honestly make a very astonishing comeback for this game too, make it real easy. We thought like it was starting to look a little rough at the beginning, and they rolled over it later on in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the winning formula was able to come back with a solid draft in round two. Not necessarily what I would say is the best draft in the scenario or the best champions in the scenario, but what that draft does give with the winning formula is a very clear-cut win condition. And sometimes that's what you need to fall back on when your back is against the wall, right? Just understand, hey, we just need to not die. We just need to not instantly lose the game at the beginning, and then we eventually win, right? And once they got past that one tipping point, right? You know, once they got the heart steal on the Cho'Gath, once they started stacking up, once they started getting a few extra kills onto their Tristana, that's when the winning formula starts to really come into form. And it's not like Star Nation had a bad composition either, right? They had a very good composition at getting that early game, you know, lead in, getting that early game gold and starting to spread that around the map and just snowballing with it. But they didn't quite finish the entire 5-step plan. They got through steps 1 through 4, right? They got that early gold. They got that early momentum. They got that early advantage. They got, you know, those early objectives. They did not get the snowball rolling though, because once it got to step 5 is when things started to really fall apart. It really only took 1 or 2 team fights that they didn't come out on top for things to start to fall apart. So now that we're hitting game number 3, maybe we start to see a few stylistic changes. Maybe we go back to something a little bit more easy to execute. Meanwhile, Eugene was doing great on the Rumble in game 1. Game number 2, the Ivern that did slip through ban phase did not necessarily get the same kind of control as we saw in that first game, but who knows? Maybe we see a repeat in game number 3, right?
Yeah, we could possibly see him do well. I know, you know, that first game we thought, like you were talking about when we got banned out, that it is a very powerful pick, and just because it didn't do well once doesn't mean it can't do well again. You see TWF is gonna ban out those strong picks from game number 1. Speaking of that, the Rumble, the Syndra, the Jinx, and Ahri still continuing to be banned by SNE. They really do not want to play into those. Will TWF take here? Will it be the Lilia ban again? They also are feeling that Lilia. Eugene, I remember seeing him on that, I think earlier in the season, was just tearing it up with the Lilia. So, yeah, not surprised to see him go there. The Tristana ban, though. Don't make a little bit harder for the to carry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana, disgustingly good champion right now. I mean, one of the strongest mid laners in the game, has the ability to just put out so much damage early, put out a lot of that tower damage, and also flexible into the AD carry position. Speaking of which, we've got the Corki for quality player right here, and the Volibear takeaway by Eugene on SNE here. And I gotta say, I do love me some early Volibear picking, because you can still flex that one over into the top lane. Volibear Kai'Sa means that we are going to be getting a little bit more focus towards Maker in this bot lane. I would not be surprised to see a Nautilus takeaway from the side of TWF, but it's going to be the Shin Zhao here. The question is, do you take an AD carry like Caitlyn in response, or do you take the best in slot support away from the Kai'Sa?
I feel like the best in slot support, but it's going to be the Caitlyn. So they are going to focus on the AD carrier, worried about that position getting pinched a bit. And I could see that being something for Zafa that they were a little bit worried about. And the Aurelia, hey!
What?
The anti-special is here.
Okay. I hate this, actually. I don't think this is a good position to be in. I mean, maybe if you're throwing it into the mid lane, but Irelia into Corki is something that can work out just fine, but you have to be so prepared to play that 2v2. But if you're dragging your jungler into mid lane all the time, then you're not really going to be getting the same kind of dive potential that comes in from the Volibear when it comes to just slamming those bot lane, towers. But for now, it should be fine. There's going to be a lot of bans towards that top side. I'm almost certain that's not going to be an Irelia blind. That would be absolute madness, and that's 2 bans away from the top lane. So we still have the Nautilus. There it is, the best in slot support for the Kai'Sa, especially into champions like the Caitlyn, like the Corki. And like I said, right, it's doable, it's workable, it's a lot of trust in your players. And, I don't know these players nearly as well as these coaches do, nearly as well as these drafters do. But what I will say is, Renata, phenomenal pick up here. And this last pick from TWF could change a lot. And all of a sudden, I'm loving this Irelia pick. Great into both of these lanes. And now the final pick to round out the composition.
What will it be? It's gonna be The Rock himself coming into town. Malphite is here.
Okay, so now what I will say, so this does get a lot of, how do you call it? It's a lot of giving up on your laning phase, right? So Inigo Montoya has been on the back foot for a lot of these games, right? Klezomenai has been playing phenomenally into this top laner, but right now it says, hey, you've had your fun, you've had your 2 games where you just instantly win, but this time around we're getting way more going on early in.
Yeah, early game fight breaking out. Comet already getting low, is gonna fall. First blood over to quality players. The Ace players have decided they have had enough. Maker gonna pick up that kill, but they will lose their jungler in the process. Can they get anything else? It's gonna be another kill. The flash forward, the Malphite gonna pick it up. 3 for 2 so far in favor of TWF. I think that's gonna be the last kill here. No one has any more follow-up, but that was of plays I have seen in League of Legends, that was most certainly one of them.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there, Raptor. I mean, that's one of those matchups where it's like, okay, well, let's see. If the Malphite gets an E off across the entire team, maybe you win, maybe with the E from the Volibear, for example. But like, there's just really not so much level 1 power on the side of SNE. Meanwhile, Eugene, speaking of which, just gonna get a little bit of that level 1 power shown in this top side. But what I will say, right? So, as I was saying before, we were so rudely interrupted by the Clown Fiesta moment in the bot lane, was Klezomenai's been playing so well into Inigo Montoya, but now on the Malphite is saying, hey, I'm not going to win this lane. It is Malphite versus Kennen. I am going to suffer, but it does not matter. I'm going to hit 6. I'm going to hit R. Your team is going to die, and my team is going to win, right? This is a selfless top lane pick here. So right now, the biggest concern is, what do you do in the mid lane, right? The Corki Irelia lane has to go in the Irelia's favor. You have to be able to drag the priority towards the Irelia. You have to be able to, with the Irelia and the Volibear, jump into that bot lane, just make these dives happen. But it's pretty dang hard to dive a Renata.
Yeah, it is difficult. The stun and the damage reduction are pretty big. Speaking of the stun, hitting quality player, I feel like it could have gone back in. Oh, he actually is going to go in. He's going to take that trade right there and actually come out about even, I'd say, overall for the Aurelia. So good matchup. Like you said, this is lane has to go in the favorite, but also just go for bot lane as the flash forward onto Helper. They are going to root him up, and he's going to keep running, and he is going to fall. Eugene's going to pick up that kill, and the hook lands! Zafa. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, might be in just a little bit of trouble, but nothing too crazy there. He is going to be able to get a beautiful kill onto Helper, punishing the lack of flash there. But in the meantime, mid lane slowly going into the Irelia's favorite for now, is what I will say. Because, if you're slightly behind in terms of the gold, you should be able to sustain back up. But, oh, this is way more than I think Eugene was expecting.
Yeah, he's getting torn up right there, but Zala will fall on the side. Maker gonna pick up that kill, and one for the Aurelia as well. So 2 for 1 in favor of S&E. This is what we're looking for. It's also the buffs over to Valder, so that's gonna be pretty nice to have on your Aurelia.
I mean, with that kill, I'm certain that Velder has just enough to pick up a Vampiric Scepter here. Should be able to teleport back to lane, and all of a sudden you have a ridiculously strong Irelia into the Corki with a blue buff, which, you know, when you don't have the presence of mind, you should be in a pretty good position to stay alive here. But I gotta say, right, there's a few things that have to happen for this team composition to really work. And I think they've happened, right? You know, you've got the winning mid lane for the priority. You've got the ability to get down into that bot lane to get this Kai'Sa rolling. And all of a sudden, S&E in a pretty solid position. And while Klezmenai might be falling behind in the farm, in the gold, that's not Malphite's job. Malphite just needs to get experience, just needs to hit 6, just needs to be able to play the game. Meanwhile, mid lane, it's going to be a lot of crazy trades back and forth.
Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit back and forth. And like you said, Malphite doesn't need the goal. I mean, he's doing well. He's only 6 down. That's not bad for a Malphite. I usually expect it to be a little bit worse for our little rock boy. But he's almost 6. Like, he's already at 5. Once he hits 6, like you've been saying, he's just going to kind of go roam around, ult, get a kill, and that's how they're going to win this game. The onus is on Inigo Montoya, I think, for once he hits 6 and leaves the lane, to take advantage of that, to really push the lane and get the gold lead, get more gold, get the farm, get online. That's really Kennen's whole job here for this late game. And Eugene coming back around for a second possible gank attempt on the bottom side. They're walking straight into him, though. And, oh, actually, there is, because Lee Sinner's there. Bear trying to get away. Eugene on the run, forced to flash out Maker as well. So that didn't go as they were anticipating it would. But S&E does make it out unscathed.
Yeah, beautiful stuff coming in from Lee Sinners to get that counter gank off. And Klezmenai just going to be able to hit that level 6. A very, very important point in the lane. But in the meantime, Dragon going to be picked up for the side of the winning formula, as the red team is starting to struggle a little bit. Like you said, Irelia has to get ahead. Right? You cannot have an Irelia just look to farm up for Bork when it comes to the mid lane Irelia, because you got to make sure that your Kai'Sa is going to be relevant in these fights. You don't have an exhaust on your Nautilus. You want to make sure that Kennen doesn't just get to demolish the entirety of the team. You want to be on the front, and oh boy. Yeah,
Klezo going forward. Eugene not getting able to pick up that kill because Inigo Montoya has flash and the ultimate, but that is 2 down. Meanwhile, Valder trying to do quality in this mid lane still. This Aurelia is doing pretty well in the initial stages of these little trades. He's got to kind of be able to finish it up, as Eugene is kind of trailing Lee Sinners right now. They know he's here. He doesn't know, I think, that everyone is here and thinks he can take this, but here comes the bear, and the ultimate from Valder is going to be enough. He's going to ult him and pick up the kill.
Yeah, beautiful stuff coming out from Velder, going to be able to pick up that kill there. Now, probably looking back, you got no mana left on the Irie. Meanwhile, bot lane, just need this Kai'Sa and Nautilus to find their in, right? You know, just once you can get past the range discrepancy is when things start to really come into play here, as Eugene on the Volibear just going to continue to farm up, looking for that level 6. And once the ultimates are available is when we'll really start to see this game come alive.
I agree, and they're almost on here, almost level 6 for both of Maker and Comet. Maker just hit it. Comet probably just this wave, after this wave falls, will be 6. So, question is, will Helper and Zala stay around long enough? No, they're not gonna. But Comet is 6.
Not quite.
Yeah, Eugene is 6 as well, so there's good potential for this bear to come back down, and they could even set up a dive on the turret. Lee Sinner shows mid. I think Valder saw that. First time picking in the rookie split. Wow. Okay, Valder getting engaged on right here, but he's going to get out fine. Zara's taking it back. It's the first big time Aurelia pick for another rookie having another good game on a first-time pick. That's always fun to see. Oh, and even look at even Inigo Montoya, too. It's everyone's first pick today. As Quality has been caught up by Eugene. Here comes the Aurelia. They're looking for it. Valder is here, but the flash over will save Quality. Meanwhile, Inigo and Killzone Mania is trying.
All right. Well, Klezimeni in the top lane still, on the back foot against the cannon, but as we said, Malphite does not really care about the lane alone. Once you hit level 6, that's all you need, right? You still have the ability to start winning out in these trades later that the lane goes when you start to get a little bit more tanky. But in the meantime, just play towards your win condition. Play towards those team fights. And I gotta say, right, one of the reasons why I wasn't the most thrilled about the mid lane Irelia is something I will talk about later.
Yeah, Comet ults on to help her, but that fizzled out fast.
Yeah, beautiful handshake. It's just going to be a handshake. And it's like, yeah, goodbye. It's been nice. And now we get back to talking about the rest of the game, right? So, as I was saying, right, I wasn't the most thrilled about the Irelia mid because Irelia has some pretty committal trading patterns a lot of the time when it comes to that mid lane, right? It's not like top lane where you can just control the wave position in the same way into so many of these bruiser lanes where a lot of the times the jungler is so ready and willing to just punish you in the mid lane, right? Meanwhile, Lee Sinners, as we've seen, has come by, has tried to make things happen, and Eugene knows exactly how to play around that, right? This isn't solo queue. This is a competitive match where you have teammates that you can fall back and rely on.
This might be a dead Corki. Eugene is ulting. Well, not even ulting from now. He's going to ult on in. They're going on in Quality trying to get out, but he will fall. Valder will pick up that kill. And sorry, continue what you were saying as we saw that drive.
No, I mean, that's perfect, right? It's exactly what I was talking about. You have your teammates that you can rely on. You can set up these dives. You can set up these plays. And, I was concerned that maybe Velder is going to be left alone in that mid lane as we've seen before, but instead, it's always team play back and forth from SNE.
Yeah, and now Zafa trying to get onto Comet. But they're going to back up. Eugene is here, though. He's on the hunt. The bear is looking. The double stun route going to pick him up. He's going to fall. Going to go into that. But just going to die. Double kill going over to Maker right there. Almost lost my train of thought for a moment. Now Lee Sinner trying to get onto Maker there. Buzz force the ult, but is going to get hooked. Take him back, and Eugene's going to pick that up for a clean 3-0.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff coming in from Star Nation. And now we have the Dragon going to be going over to SNE. As the longer this game goes in this position, the better and better it's looking for SNE, right? Virelia has picked up the Bork, so all of a sudden she can just kind of start to run over the Corki every single time Quality runs a little bit too far forward. Zafa is no longer safe. The Renata ultimates have to be on point, or there's just no chance for the winning formula to be winning out on these team fights. But, right now, my big concern, right? You have to keep your eyes on Inigo Montoya. You have to keep your eyes on this Kennen, because this Kennen could be the difference maker in so many of these fights. There's no exhaust on the side of SNE. If there's a good enough flank going in from the winning formula, we might just see that one big play that's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen it at the highest level of gameplay. Kennen can make all the difference. As Valder finds Lee Sinner, the flash isn't going to matter because the ult comes through. The ult also comes from Clizzo. And now it's going to be a second kill. Valder going to go on a rampage after that. Clean 2-0. You said Malphite just has to hit R. That's all I got to do.
That's all you got to do. Malphite hits R, and oh boy, we got the teleport coming in.
Yeah, Kennen's looking for it. He's trying to hunt down the AD carry. Will he get Maker? He is not gonna. Teleport will not be enough. The ult is flying through. I think Maker's gonna get low, though. Zafa trying to get out there. Maker, though, gonna fall as well. Zafa gonna pick up 2 kills for himself. Gotta be careful. Yeah, Valder's here. Is very scary. Is 4-1 on this There's 4 people here. Should be pretty safe.
Yeah. I mean, Vailder going to be showing a strong amount of restraint there, but the reason why you can't just go in there is the moment that the Irelia goes in with the dash, Helper standing right there is the #1 deterrent, right? That handshake canceling out the Q is something you got to be careful of, but oh my lord, there's just fighting on fighting on fighting.
Yeah, now it's Eugene and Lee Sinners going at it. Quality is here. The Bear, though, gonna ult and pick up 1 kill in the 1v1, and Quality will fall right after. Unfortunately, not gonna be able to save his friend. There is Renata. Zafa trying to get out of here. Valder's on the hunt. Will the Aurelia find it? Slows him down. Comet looking to maybe go, well, nope, they're just gonna blast count over. So, another 2-0 for SNE. Getting up 4,000 gold. They're taking this Herald now. They're starting to take control of this whole map, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, we've said that these are the win conditions that need to be met, and they've been met now, right? I mean, this is the position where this is SNE's game to lose. It is only a 4,000 gold lead, slowly going to be ballooning into a 5,000 gold lead, but that's less than 15 minutes into the game. Right? This isn't a completely insurmountable lead, but it's just absolutely terrifying to have to deal with. And right now, you've got the Rift Herald, you've got the tower damage, you've got everyone being dragged around the map for the side of the winning formula. And right now, I honestly think there's so little that the winning formula can do. You have to just start ditching the lanes. You have to start just grouping up and death balling. Find a pick. Find someone you can get on top of. Maybe Vailder in a side lane. But there's so little you can do if you just wait for the game to fall into the right position.
Yeah, you just gotta wait. You gotta just look for that opportunity. A death ball could work very well. They have the comp for it. I mean, you've got the cannon, you've got the Renata, perfect to use in a grouped up position. Though, still gotta be careful. There is still the Malphite to watch out for, but this game is still far from over. Despite the gold lead, TWF still has an opportunity here, but they've got to find a way to, like you said, they've got to find a way to stem this bleeding. And I think just letting these turrets fall might not be the best approach for that.
Yeah, I mean, like, trying to deal with these outer turrets is something that's just not going to be contestable at this point, right? I mean, TWF is just so much gold down and so much momentum down that, you know, the Corki has not finished the Triforce just yet. You know, you're still waiting on a lot of this damage coming on in. Meanwhile, Aurelia's been full build for a hot minute, right? I mean, that Bork's been sitting on the table, and every single member of TWF has been looking down the barrel of that sword.
That's a way to work. What is this, Final Fantasy? Are we using gunblades now?
Hell yeah.
There's no Samira in this game.
Hey, if we can have floating blades, we can have gun blades.
That's fair. I actually would love to see some Samira play. Not gonna lie. I want to see more people pick up Samira. I know that why they don't, but I still wish more people pick Samira. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's mad fun, but we got the team fight coming on in.
Yeah, teleports are coming through. Lee Sinner going right on in. Comet, though, going to hook him up and root him down. The hostile takeover coming in from Renata. Eugene goes forward with the ultimate. Here comes Valder, though. They get one shut down onto the Barrack. Double kill now going over to Lee Sinner, but Valder is shredding this team going forward, looking for Diego Montoya. Now, he get Helper as well. He is looking for it. Maker going to block the ult from Zafa. And Malphite, he's still on the hunt. No one stops the Malphite. He slaps the Renata and just keeps running. You go, Malphite. You just keep running, buddy. He's like the
oh boy,
the Forrest Gump of champions.
Yeah, I mean, that team fight was really TWF's only chance left back into this game, right? It would take a monumental throw from SNE to lose this at this point because, right, that hostile takeover was the most important ultimate for the winning formula, and it didn't quite work out as hoped for. So right here, Lee Sinners goes in early, does not quite have the backup from the team. Zafa isn't able to auto attack. Quality player still not in the right range to auto attack, and Nigo Montoya getting tagged up by the depth charge means that you don't have the full-on follow-up that's needed. And all of a sudden, you've got so much all-in from every side possible. Lee Sinners going down. Inigo Montoya also going down as the Irelia just does so much damage. It's the Pressy attack, so you're not going to have the same kind of survivability with the Conqueror, but it doesn't matter because you've just got so much damage constantly getting amped up, constantly being spread across the entire team. And when you're this far ahead, just slap the opponent with your wallet.
Yeah, I mean they're doing it. So I mean, did you see that Caitlyn ult at the end? Did like no damage. I couldn't tell. It didn't look like make your barrier. I think that just was like it was just that low of damage. And it makes sense. The Caitlyn only has the collector. That is all that Zoff has been able to get this game. It's not been able to really get much else going on the Caitlyn. And yeah, like I don't know at this point. How is there a way besides, like you said, a huge blunder from SNE for TWF to get back into this game?
Yeah, I mean, right now, it doesn't really seem like there is an opportunity. Veiled are just going to go straight on in. There's no chance for the Kennen to survive. Like I said, the moment I saw Kennen, that went from me not necessarily liking the Irelia pick to being like, oh, this is incredible, actually. I don't quite understand some of the picks from TWF. There's just certain times where it's like, okay, there's a pick here and there. It's like, I can tell why this worked, but also you have countered yourself in certain ways, right? I don't know. Either way, regardless of how things have developed, it's just all SNE from here.
Yep, this is the SNE show. SNE on the cusp of giving TWF their very first loss of the season. Well, series loss, not game loss, but series loss of the season. Really asserting that there is a fight at this top end of the pool of teams, and I think that's great. I love when a league is not just one team just dominating everyone else, having competition. It's good. It's good to see two teams going back and forth like this for the top spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see the back and forth. And as we've seen before, right, it's not just the regular season, right? It's all about the playoffs, right, in the end. And right now, both these teams look very well poised to make the playoffs. And if we're going to be getting these back and forth sets in best of 3, I can't wait to see how they work out in best of 5. But right now, it's going to be a 2-man Baron start from the side of SNE as the rest of the members are playing distraction duty, are playing disruption duty, trying to make sure that this is going to be as free of a Baron as possible. Maker does not quite have any lifesteal, but should be doing just fine. There's nobody on the planet who could be contesting anything from SNE.
Yeah, there's just how do you contest it? You walk up and you're just immediately dead, either from Malphite ult, Volibear ult, or a combination of them with Aurelia. You don't even need the bot lane right now of SNE. They're just kind of like this extra window dressing for the rest of it. It's the whole top and mid side of the map that is doing the heavy lifting right now for SNE. That's not saying that the bot is doing bad. It's just there's just so much damage in those top 3. It's so difficult to deal with as we see SNE going for this bottom turret, the last of the outer turrets before they get to the base, trying to crack that open here on this Baron push. They've still got a little bit of time before the buff runs out. I mean, they've actually got a decent amount of time, but enough to work with. They could still rotate to other lanes.
Absolutely. I mean, the Baron is going to be something that, you gotta pay so much attention to, right? I mean, Malphite is something that basically nobody can really match in a side lane. The Irelia you can't match in a side lane. I mean, like I said, you just have to group up and start forcing things to happen. TWF has slowly just waited for SNE to take this game. It's just slowly been getting choked out, and they're not really trying to make anything happen. Sure, if it goes super, ultra, uber late, maybe you can get a crazy game-winning team fight, but you gotta make things happen now. And Malphite is the opportunity, but it's Malphite, right? I mean, what are you really gonna do?
Yeah,
Plezo has a Rylai's.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you catch him, just ults over a wall and it's done. There's the whole fight, the whole attempt is over.
Wait, does Rylai's proc on like Sunfire? I'm trying to understand. I mean, like at this point, you're so far ahead, it doesn't really matter. But I want to understand the big brain play here.
I think it's if you hit the ult, it just just gives you the slow for afterwards, so that they just really can't get away, or maybe even the E, because the E doesn't have a slow; it's attack speed slow.
I mean, the E makes sense, right? Yeah. It's super hard for Kennen to get on in there, but yeah, I mean, it's something that's a little atypical.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's because he wants to get a little bit more AP, but still get beefy, and that's like the option. Though in that case, why not just go with Rod of Ages? I mean, like I know you're this late into the game, but like you can still get a couple stats.
I mean, no, Rod of Ages has to be a lot earlier. But either way, I mean, builds is this thing. We're talking about builds because there's so little to talk about the game.
I know, because it's just so dominant.
SNE are so in control right now. It's genuinely so difficult to see an in for TWF because TWF aren't looking for one, right? Right now, they're just trying to hope that there's a mistake that's made. They're not trying to force anything. They're just trying to hope something falls into their lap. But best believe me, best believe you, I don't know. But either way, there's just absolutely no way that something falls into the lap and they're not ready for it. I'm sure that TWF is looking for something, right? You know, Klezo in a little bit of trouble. I don't know. Like, just Inigo's just not going to be able to do much into the Malphite. Meanwhile, you've got the tower diving available from the Volibear, but we're still not going to see it because we don't need it to happen. SNE just taking things very slow, very controlled.
Yeah, that's, I see why you want to burn the Jin Zhao ult there, as Comet does get handshaked. Eugene going forward, though. They get the stun back onto it. The ult comes in from the Aurelia. They're going forward. Helper picks up Comet. Oh, they're going to pick up another two on Eugene. Klezo goes in. They're looking for it, but can they dive this tower? Valder now on the run. SNE bit off a little bit more than they could chew, and TWF is going to manage to hold the line.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that is what you have to watch for, right? Like I said, Raptor, TWF are waiting for something to fall into their lap, and every opportunity that does, they're gonna go for it, right? Meanwhile, Linzu, not too happy. As we said, we've been talking a little bit about the builds. Linzu also talking a bit about the builds, saying, I told him if he's ahead, go IE Navori. And I gotta say, I saw that in chat as it was happening, and I saw Maker go back, and I saw a few items in the inventory, and it's like, that is not going to be a Navori. That is unfortunate. I don't think Lindsay's going to be too happy. Either way.
Whoa, we got chat now? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we've got people on all sides of the spectrum as far as emotions are concerned. But right now, Helper is very much on the sad side of that spectrum.
Yeah, he is. Valder's going to go godlike on that one. No, Renata, such a big point of TWF's defense is that, and now it's just a 4v5. Can they hold the SNE's just kind of taking it slow? They're just slowly going at pace. We're kind of roaming around, I guess clearing out the jungle. But I kind of want to see them, take advantage, a bit more advantage of that run. I know they still had to wait for the wave, but you feel like you could have pushed a little bit more aggressively there. But SNE just still playing their controlled game. They do not want to potentially throw this away. They're on the cusp of tying, and I guess technically surpassing is the tiebreaker first place. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of pressure, and they're taking it in stride. That's better than a lot of teams do.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're so far ahead. The biggest concern for a lot of teams is don't throw, right? Like, you have to be focused on your win condition. You have to be focused on what you need to do in order to survive, in order to actually play for the very end here. And SNE showing that they are very much in control. They're very much going to play it patient, going to play it safe, nothing too crazy here. We got another Baron, another crack at these inhib towers. Still not a single one falling, which honestly a little bit surprising considering that you've got so much engagement, so much all in. But I mean, you got no exhaust for the Kennen, so it's going to be pretty dang hard to just walk straight through a full damage slicing Maelstrom. So I kind of get it.
Yeah, I get it. I understand where they're going with that. And Dragon coming up now in just a couple seconds. This could be really big for SNE. You thought they were scary before. Wait until they have an Ocean Soul for themselves. That's going to be even more terrifying. If I'm inside of TWF, I'm really gonna try to fight. I'd really try to fight for this if I were them. But how do they get out? And they're not gonna. It's just going right over to SNE. They're gonna pick up the Ocean Soul. They're gonna kind of just start clearing up the wave, and they're gonna get ready to march this down the mid. Will they be able to crack the base this time, though?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a question as to, do they crack the base? Got a lot of these minions going on in. Quick stun onto Inigo Montoya, but right now it's just the tower. They're just going to give it up. TWF are going to be going down, not with a bang, but with a whisper. We're not seeing any signs of life from this team just yet. Right? They're still looking for an opportunity, but you got two people caught into the middle of the base and not an all-in. There we go.
Yes, there we go. Right in onto Comet, just like last time. He will fall, but the entirety of SNE piles on in. Maker picks up 1, Maker picks up 2, Maker picks up 3. Will they get any more? Looking for it on the side here. They will not pick up the 5th, but they will grab 4. A quadra kill for Maker. SNE gets the ace. They get the turret. They're going to get this inhibitor, and I think they're just going to get the game right here.
Yeah, TWF just going to be falling apart at the hands of SNE. Beautiful stuff from this team. Going to be able to take sole possession of first place with this one. Tied in set score, but absolutely have that head-to-head. So here we go. Great stuff, SNE. 2-1 on the day.
Yeah. Congratulations to them securing first place in the league. That's very impressive to do, to take this team that has looked so clean so far and run them through the ringer twice, making them it wasn't even close. Both those wins, they was pretty dominant. So, honestly, I think they've shown also a very heavy variety of drafting today too. So I'm very excited to watch SNE the rest of the season as they continue to show us what they've got. They are very creative with their picks.
Yeah. I mean, you got some creative picks and you've got some creative strategies, and that's what it takes to get to the top. And Star Nation Esports going to be able to take that top spot here. And thank you everyone for tuning in to this 3-game series. It's been back and forth. It's been stomp after stomp after stomp. And here we are at the very end. SNE coming out on top of that bloody battle. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to tune in for the rest of the week as we have more of that Titan Esports action.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side.